Welcome to our journey on how to never beg for love and let everything come naturally. In this video, we'll delve deeply into the philosophy of Stoicism to uncover how you can approach love, relationships, and self-respect in a way that is grounded in reality and enriched by virtue. Each point we discuss is designed to help you cultivate meaningful connections that are based on shared values and authenticity rather than superficial attraction or fleeting approval. Before we dive in, I encourage you to watch until the end because each section builds on the previous one, leading to a comprehensive understanding of how to transform your approach to relationships through Stoic principles. Every insight shared will not only help you in romantic relationships, but will also enhance your broader approach to life and self-development. Let's begin. 1. Embrace imperfection. We live in a world that glorifies perfection in relationships, whether in movies, social media, or even the expectations set by society. We are led to believe that somewhere out there is a perfect person who will fulfill all our desires, complete us, and make life feel effortless. But ask yourself, what is the reality behind this notion? Is there truly a perfect person for anyone? Or is this merely an illusion, a mirage that disappears upon closer inspection? Stoicism teaches us that seeking perfection in our partners or ourselves is a futile endeavor because nothing in life is without flaws. Each person carries imperfections, and to deny this reality is to set yourself up for inevitable disappointment. What if, instead of seeking perfection, we embraced the natural imperfections in both ourselves and others? Could it be that the real beauty in a relationship lies in accepting the other person's flaws, learning to love the person as a whole rather than just their strengths? In practice, embracing imperfection requires an understanding that all human beings are fallible and that the idealized partner portrayed in films does not exist. By expecting perfection, you place undue pressure on your relationships and set unrealistic standards that are bound to cause frustration. This is where the concept of amor fati, or the love of one's fate, comes into play. How often do you find yourself wishing your partner or relationship were different? What if you could learn to accept the present circumstances and the person before you, flaws and all? What would happen if, rather than striving for an unattainable ideal, you focused on nurturing what already exists? To love authentically, one must acknowledge the imperfections of others, just as one acknowledges one's own shortcomings. By practicing self-acceptance, you create an environment where both partners can grow together. This approach does not mean settling for less, but rather striving to build something meaningful from what is real and present. It means seeing the good in the person as they are today, while encouraging growth and development without imposing unrealistic standards. The Stoics remind us to focus on what is within our control. You cannot change the fundamental nature of another person, nor can you eliminate every flaw. But you can choose how to perceive those imperfections and how to react to them. Will you allow these imperfections to be a source of conflict, or will you view them as opportunities for understanding and growth? The choice is yours, and the consequences of that choice will shape the course of your relationship. Embrace imperfection, not because you are settling, but because you are acknowledging the truth. When you accept what is real, you free yourself from the burden of unrealistic expectations, allowing love to grow naturally. Reflect on this as we move to the next point on cultivating balanced reciprocal relationships. 2. Focus on reciprocity and self-respect. Reciprocity lies at the heart of all healthy relationships. In the context of love, reciprocity means that the effort, affection, and care you give are returned to you in equal measure. But what happens when this balance is disrupted? What should you do if you find yourself continually giving more than you receive? Should you continue to pour your energy into someone who does not reciprocate? Stoicism teaches us the importance of maintaining justice and balance in all aspects of life. In relationships, this means recognizing when a dynamic is unjust, when one person is investing far more than the other. To continually give to someone who does not give back is not an act of love. It is an act of neglect towards oneself. By doing so, you allow your self-respect to erode over time. Ask yourself, how often have you overlooked your own needs to satisfy the desires of another? Have you been so focused on making your partner happy that you have lost sight of your own happiness? Stoicism encourages us to uphold self-respect as a form of justice. It is not selfish to expect a relationship to be balanced. It is a fundamental requirement for a healthy partnership. When reciprocity is absent and efforts are consistently one-sided, the imbalance can lead to resentment and emotional exhaustion. The Stoics believed in living in accordance with nature and in relationships. This means understanding that there must be a natural flow of giving and receiving. Just as breathing requires both inhalation and exhalation, love requires both giving and receiving to sustain itself. Reflect on the dynamic of your relationships. Are you both contributing equally, or has the balance shifted in a way that is unhealthy? If you find yourself in a relationship where reciprocity is lacking, it may be time to reassess whether that connection serves your well-being. It is not an admission of failure to recognize that a relationship is not working. It is an act of courage and self-respect. Stoicism teaches us to act justly, not only towards others, but towards ourselves as well. If you do not honor your own needs, how can you expect others to honor them? To foster a healthy relationship, focus on building a foundation of mutual respect and balance. Encourage open communication about each other's needs and be willing to address any discrepancies in effort. By doing so, you will create an environment where both partners can thrive and love can flourish naturally. Let us now explore the importance of being true to oneself and not seeking the approval of others. 3. Authenticity over approval. How often do we find ourselves seeking validation from others, longing for their approval, and fearing rejection? It is a natural human inclination to desire acceptance, but what price are we willing to pay for it? At what point does the need for approval start to undermine our authenticity? In Stoicism, the value of living true to oneself is paramount. To live in accordance with one's principles, to act according to what is right rather than what is popular, is the path to true freedom. When you seek love, do you do so from a place of neediness, hoping to be chosen, or do you approach relationships from a position of strength, knowing your own worth? The danger in seeking approval is that it often leads to compromising one's values, pretending to be something one is not, or suppressing one's true desires to fit the expectations of another. This is not love. It is a form of self-betrayal. When you present a false version of yourself, you may gain temporary affection, but you lose the opportunity for a genuine connection based on mutual understanding. Reflect on the times you have altered your behavior to gain someone's approval. Did it bring you lasting happiness, or did it leave you feeling unfulfilled? How often do you catch yourself acting in ways that do not align with your values, just to be accepted by others? To truly embody Stoicism, one must cultivate an internal sense of validation. Instead of looking outward for approval, look inward and assess whether your actions align with your principles. When you live authentically, You attract people who resonate with your true self. You may not win the approval of everyone, but those who are drawn to you will appreciate you for who you genuinely are. Stoicism teaches that happiness and fulfillment do not come from external sources, but from living a life of virtue. When you are true to yourself, you create a magnetic quality that naturally draws others to you. By focusing on your own growth and values, rather than seeking to impress or please, you foster an environment where love can develop organically, without force or manipulation. Think about how different your relationships would be if you stopped seeking approval and instead focused on being the best version of yourself. How would this change the way you interact with others? How would it affect your own sense of self-worth? As we continue, let's discuss the concept of love as a garden that requires cultivation rather than an object to be found. 4. The Garden of Love. Cultivation over infatuation. Love is often portrayed as a sudden, magical force, an intense emotion that appears out of nowhere, sweeping us off our feet. But ask yourself, is love really a matter of luck, or does it require conscious effort and dedication? If love were purely spontaneous, why do so many relationships, which start with intense attraction, fail to last? Stoicism offers us a different perspective. Love is not an accident that happens to us. It is a garden that we must carefully cultivate. It requires ongoing attention, patience, and work. Just as a gardener must tend to the soil, water the plants, and remove the weeds, we must also nurture our relationships to keep them healthy and vibrant. If you neglect the garden of love, it will wither. If you nourish it, it will thrive. How often do we become enchanted by infatuation, mistaking it for genuine love? Infatuation is like the first bloom in spring, bright and captivating, but it fades with time. In contrast, true love is more like a perennial plant with roots that grow deeper over the years, weathering the seasons of life. Think about the relationships you have observed or experienced. How many started with passion only to lose their spark over time? Why did this happen? Was it because the initial excitement faded, or was it because there was no genuine effort to cultivate a lasting connection? The truth is that genuine love requires more than attraction. It requires commitment, understanding, and the willingness to grow together. This growth often involves uncomfortable moments, times of conflict, misunderstandings, or even boredom. But these challenges should not be seen as threats to love. Rather, they are opportunities to strengthen the bond. Just as a plant may grow stronger when it is pruned, a relationship can deepen when it is tested. Ask yourself, are you willing to put in the effort to cultivate a lasting relationship, or are you simply seeking the thrill of infatuation? Do you invest in your partner's growth as much as you do in your own? If love is indeed a garden, then each moment you spend nurturing it is an act of creation, shaping something beautiful and enduring. Consider how your actions contribute to the growth of your relationships. Are you communicating openly and honestly, or do you avoid difficult conversations? Do you actively show appreciation for your partner, or do you take them for granted? By tending to these aspects, you can ensure that your love continues to flourish naturally. Now, let's look at a historical example to understand how Stoic principles can manifest in a real relationship. 5. The example of Marcus Aurelius and Faustina. When discussing Stoic love, one cannot ignore the relationship between Emperor Marcus Aurelius and his wife, Faustina. Their union is often cited as an example of a Stoic partnership that exemplifies mutual respect, loyalty, and shared virtues. Despite the challenges they faced, political pressures, rumors, and personal losses, their bond remained strong. What can we learn from this couple about the nature of love and how to sustain it? Marcus Aurelius, known for his wisdom and adherence to Stoicism, did not view love as merely a romantic pursuit. For him, love was an aspect of life that required the same virtues as any other endeavor: courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom. His relationship with Faustina was not based on superficial qualities. Rather, it was a deep and enduring partnership built on shared principles and the strength to face life's difficulties together. When you think about your own relationships, how often do you apply the same virtues you strive to uphold in other areas of life? Faustina played an essential role as both the emperor's partner and a person of influence in her own right. Together, they faced the loss of several children and the immense responsibilities of leading an empire. Yet, through these hardships, Marcus found solace in his wife, appreciating not only who she was, but also who she was becoming. This speaks to the Stoic understanding that a partner is not just someone who shares the present, but is also someone with whom you grow and evolve over time. Of course, there were rumors and accusations about Faustina's fidelity, but Marcus Aurelius chose to defend her honor and maintain his loyalty. This decision reflected his understanding of moral courage, one of the key Stoic virtues. It is easy to act justly when there are no external pressures, but what do you do when your integrity is tested? Do you remain loyal and just, or do you give in to the whispers of doubt and rumor? Their relationship also exemplifies the Stoic idea that love is not just about the self, it is about the good of the other and the relationship as a whole. Marcus Aurelius did not see his role as merely that of a husband, but as a partner in a larger, shared purpose. For them, love was not an isolated emotion, but an integral part of their life philosophy, woven into how they ruled, how they raised their children, and how they supported each other through adversity. Reflect on this. How do you approach love in your life? Is it as a pursuit for personal gratification, or is it a partnership where both individuals strive towards a shared purpose? As you ponder this, we will move on to understanding why it is crucial to seek connections that go beyond superficial attraction. 6. Seek connection beyond the surface. In the modern age, where social media and popular culture place a heavy emphasis on physical appearance, it is easy to become fixated on the external. We are bombarded with images of what is considered ideal beauty, and this can lead us to prioritize physical attraction when choosing a partner. But have you ever questioned why you are drawn to someone? Is it merely because of how they look, or is there something deeper that attracts you? Stoicism encourages us to look beyond the surface. While physical beauty may capture our attention, it is fleeting and cannot sustain a relationship over the long term. Think of the countless relationships that began with great excitement, only to fade when the initial attraction wore off. What sustains a partnership is not the appearance of the other person, but their character, virtues, and the connection that grows out of shared values. Are you focusing on what is truly important when looking for a partner, or are you allowing yourself to be distracted by superficial qualities? Consider the attributes that will still matter decades into a relationship. Intelligence, kindness, honesty, resilience. These are qualities that endure and become even more valuable as time passes. When you seek a partner, choose someone whose inner qualities complement your own. Someone who will not only be there in times of joy, but also stand by you during life's inevitable trials. Are you cultivating a relationship that is built on mutual respect, shared virtues, and a commitment to grow together. To connect beyond the surface means engaging with the deeper aspects of the person before you. Ask questions that reveal their character, their aspirations, and their philosophy of life. Share your own values and see if they resonate with theirs. In doing so, you lay the foundation for a relationship that can withstand the test of time, not because of outward beauty, but because of the inner strength that comes from a shared understanding. Reflect on your current or past relationships. What drew you to the person initially? Was it their looks, or was there something more that made you feel a true connection? If it was only the former, did the relationship sustain itself, or did it eventually lose its spark? These questions can help guide you toward a deeper understanding of what you should seek in future relationships. As we continue, we will discuss the importance of valuing reciprocity in relationships and how practicing this principle aligns with Stoic philosophy. 7. Value reciprocity as a core virtue. In any healthy relationship, reciprocity is a foundational element that ensures balance, mutual respect, and shared growth. When we talk about reciprocity, we mean more than just matching gestures or actions. It is about a genuine exchange of effort, love, and support that helps both partners flourish. But ask yourself, in your relationships, are you giving and receiving in equal measure, or has the balance shifted in a way that may be detrimental to your well-being? In Stoicism, justice is a key virtue that applies to how we treat others and ourselves. A relationship that lacks reciprocity becomes unjust when one person continually gives without receiving comparable efforts in return. This imbalance can breed resentment, feelings of neglect, and emotional exhaustion. But what steps can you take to recognize and address an absence of reciprocity before it begins to harm the relationship? Start by examining the dynamic you share with your partner. Are both of you putting in the time and energy needed to keep the relationship vibrant and fulfilling? If one person is always taking the lead in making sacrifices or compromises, it could indicate an imbalance that must be addressed. Reciprocity does not mean keeping score, but ensuring that there is a natural flow of giving and receiving, like the rhythm of the tides. Reflect on your past relationships. Were there times when you found yourself doing most of the giving, or perhaps being on the receiving end without putting in the same effort? How did these situations affect your connection? When reciprocity is absent, it is crucial to communicate openly and honestly about your concerns. A relationship that cannot withstand such conversations may not be as strong as it seems. Are you comfortable speaking up when you feel the balance has shifted? Or do you avoid these discussions for fear of conflict? Stoicism teaches us to act with fairness and justice towards ourselves as much as towards others. It would be unjust to continue sacrificing your needs in a relationship where your efforts are not reciprocated. If after communicating your concerns the dynamic does not improve, it may be necessary to reassess whether the relationship is truly serving your growth and happiness. Remember, valuing reciprocity means respecting not just your partner's efforts, but your own as well. When both partners actively practice reciprocity, the relationship becomes a source of strength and support for each individual. It allows love to thrive naturally, without force or expectation, creating a harmonious bond where both individuals can feel appreciated and valued. Now, let's transition to the idea of letting go of obsession and the need for approval to create healthier relationships. 8. Let go of obsession and the need for approval. It is natural to desire love and connection. However, When that desire becomes an obsession, it can undermine our sense of self and our ability to make rational decisions. How often have you found yourself preoccupied with thoughts of winning someone's affection, even when they show little interest in you? What toll does this obsession take on your emotional well-being? Stoicism encourages us to accept what is beyond our control, and this includes the feelings of others. If someone does not reciprocate your affection, it does not diminish your worth. It is a sign of incompatibility rather than a personal failure. But how many of us persist in chasing after someone who is not interested, hoping that our efforts will eventually be rewarded? Does this behavior reflect strength and self-respect, or does it reveal a deeper insecurity? Obsession can be particularly destructive because it places your happiness in the hands of another person. When you focus all your energy on gaining someone's approval, you neglect your own needs and personal growth. The Stoics teach us to find our source of validation from within, rather than relying on others to define our worth. If you constantly seek approval, you are placing yourself in a position of weakness, making your self-esteem vulnerable to the whims of others. Imagine how your life would change if you stopped seeking validation from outside sources. What if you could find contentment in knowing that you are enough, regardless of whether someone chooses to be with you? Wouldn't this shift in perspective free you from the emotional roller coaster of constantly trying to win someone's affection? When we let go of obsession and the need for approval, we can view rejection not as a personal affront, but as an opportunity to redirect our energy toward relationships that genuinely nurture our growth. Each no becomes a step closer to finding a yes that truly matters, a person who appreciates you for who you are rather than who you are trying to be. Consider how Stoicism can help you cultivate this mindset. By focusing on what is within your control, your actions, thoughts, and reactions, you empower yourself to let go of unhealthy attachments and pursue relationships from a place of strength and self-respect. You are no longer begging for love or approval. Instead, you are allowing connections to form naturally, based on mutual appreciation and compatibility. As we transition to the next principle, let's explore why it is vital to choose a partner for their inner qualities rather than just physical attraction. 9. Choose a partner for their inner qualities. In our visually driven world, it is easy to become enamored with physical beauty. Social media, advertisements, and popular culture all emphasize appearance, often equating it with value. But Stoicism reminds us that external qualities are fleeting and should not be the foundation upon which we build relationships. What truly lasts is not outward beauty, but the virtues and character of a person. Are you seeking a partner based on how they look? Or are you prioritizing qualities that will stand the test of time? When choosing a life partner, consider the attributes that will continue to matter long after youth and beauty have faded. Intelligence, kindness, patience, integrity. These are the traits that remain valuable as life unfolds. Physical attraction may draw you in, but it is the deeper connection that will keep the relationship strong. Reflect on your own values and think about the type of person who would complement them. Are you choosing someone who will encourage you to grow, challenge you to think, and support you through adversity? It is important to recognize that even though physical attraction is a natural part of any relationship, it should not be the primary focus. Over time, physical beauty may diminish, and when it does, what will sustain your relationship? Think of couples who have been together for decades. What is it that keeps them bonded? More often than not, it is the qualities of character and shared experiences that have strengthened their connection. When you focus on inner qualities, you align yourself with Stoic values by recognizing that what is within a person is more important than what is outside. The Stoics emphasized the cultivation of virtues such as courage, wisdom, and temperance as the true measure of a person's worth. In seeking a partner who embodies these virtues, you are choosing a relationship grounded in substance rather than superficiality. Would you prefer to build a lasting relationship that deepens with time, or one that fades as the initial spark dims? Reflect on your current or past relationships. Were you drawn to the person because of who they truly were, or was it more about their outward appearance? Did you find that their looks sustained your interest, or did it take more than physical beauty to maintain the connection? The answers to these questions may reveal the qualities you should prioritize when seeking a life partner. Choosing a partner for their inner qualities ensures that your relationship is built on a solid foundation of shared values, mutual respect, and personal growth. It creates a bond that is resilient in the face of challenges, one that does not rely on external validation, but instead draws strength from within. As we move forward, we will discuss the importance of not limiting yourself to an idealized version of a partner, and why embracing imperfections can enrich your relationships. 10. Do not limit yourself to an idealized partner. One of the common traps people fall into is the pursuit of a partner who perfectly matches an idealized image in their mind. We are often influenced by societal standards of what a perfect partner should look like, behave like, or achieve. But what if this pursuit of perfection is actually keeping you from finding a truly fulfilling relationship? Is it possible that by clinging to an ideal, you may be overlooking the real opportunities for connection that exist all around you? Stoicism teaches us to let go of rigid expectations and to accept the world as it is, rather than as we wish it to be. This acceptance applies to the realm of relationships as well. People are complex and imperfect, and no one will meet every criterion you set. Instead of searching for a partner who fits an idealized mold, why not look for someone who shares your core values, challenges you to be better, and accepts you with all your flaws? When you fixate on finding a person who matches a specific set of traits or qualities, you narrow your potential for connection. Reflect on the people you may have dismissed because they did not fit your preconceived notions. Were there qualities they had that could have contributed to a meaningful relationship? What if you had been more open to their unique traits, rather than focusing on what they lacked? To embrace a Stoic approach to love is to understand that life is not about finding perfection, but about building something worthwhile with what you have. When you look beyond the checklist, you allow room for growth, spontaneity, and unexpected joy. After all, some of the most meaningful connections come from the people you least expected to impact your life. By letting go of the need to find a perfect partner, you can focus on cultivating a relationship with someone who is imperfectly perfect for you. This means appreciating your partner for who they are now, while also growing together. The Stoics encourage us to appreciate the present and make the most of the opportunities before us, rather than wishing for something different. When you adopt this mindset in relationships, you become more resilient, adaptable, and capable of sustaining love over the long term. Think about how your expectations have influenced your past relationships. Did your ideals lead you to dismiss potential partners? How might you approach relationships differently if you embraced people as they are, rather than as you want them to be? With these insights in mind, we come to the conclusion of our exploration of love through Stoic principles. Let's wrap up by revisiting some of the key takeaways and calling you to reflect on your experiences. In our exploration of Stoic principles for relationships, We have learned that love is not something to be begged for or chased. It is a natural consequence of cultivating a life grounded in virtue, self-respect, and mutual appreciation. By focusing on qualities that endure, embracing imperfections, and valuing reciprocity, you create the foundation for a relationship that is resilient and meaningful. I invite you to reflect on these insights and share your own experiences in the comments below. Have you struggled with any of these principles in your relationships? How have Stoicism and its teachings helped you navigate the challenges of love and connection? If you found value in this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with others who may benefit from these timeless teachings. Your support helps us continue to create content that inspires and guides you on your journey toward a life of greater wisdom and fulfillment. Thank you for watching, and may you find the courage to embrace love naturally, letting it grow in its own time. Stay strong, and remember to always live with virtue.